Hey, Coach, how you
What's
doing,
up? How
man?
you doing? Good.
Pretty good. Just any injury updates on McGarry, Terrell, and Campbell?
Caleb, I think nothing major, but we'll have to see how the week goes along. Calais, same thing. I mean, we got some bumps and bruises, but nothing to report that's anything that should keep anybody out of long term. So, got to see the next 48 hours go, and who's available Wednesday.
And just the aftermath of that last second win there. Where do you feel the state of the team is as you got to get ready for another home game against Washington?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is to continue to be objective and improve. Right? We know they understand how hard it is to win in this league, and so we overcame a lot yesterday. Some of the turnovers we got to clean up. Right, the week before we had 2 picks, then yesterday was 2 fumbles. The costly penalties, really in that fringe area that stopped us from getting points. That the next step is we got to clean that up, and so there's always work to do. Situationally, defensively, I thought they played really good. Credit to Houston CJ. He made some throws in 2 minute and a half in the end of the game. So there's always stuff I think is a constant work in progress, and that's got to be our mindset. But we're pleased to get the win yesterday. It was a great team win, but we got to get ready for Washington. They're going to come in here. They got essentially a mini bye, right? They got more time. It's a talented team we know pretty well. The 2 close battles with them we've been on the wrong side of. So we know how good this front is they have, and they'll be ready to roll. They got good skilled players on offense, and so we're excited.
This question gets asked you a lot when you're the guy who's been around that team for a while. Is it a little different with Heineke or because Bieniemy's there? Does that
Yeah, I think the scheme changed. I mean, look, you get information from everybody. You take everything with a grain of salt. I promise you, Mike, we got a guy, when I was in Washington, I was a quality control. I had to debrief him literally the week of the game and gives you all this information. And you go debrief the D lineman. It's like, yeah, that helped. I didn't hear any of it. So, so you just you take everything with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Like that gets a little overrated. But, Taylor, again, a completely different offense, so.
you made Desmond kind of the 6th captain
Hmm?
yesterday? What went into that particular decision?
Just show these guys. I mean, it's not just about what I decide to do. It's how the team feels. If I think sometimes you try to force agendas or whatever. That's not the right thing to do. But you can get a feel of the team. The teammates believed in him, and it's again, young quarterback had his 9th NFL start yesterday, and those guys believe in him. So it was more of a show like, hey, like, let's go. We got your back, and at the end of the day, it's again, every team I've been on is different. I keep that spot open. If we had counter votes or if I wanted to push some narrative, I mean, he got the same vote as another veteran, but I went with the veteran. The way in, I like to have a game captain. So every program can do different. Didn't want 10 guys, didn't want 12, didn't want to make 53 captain. So we kept it at 5. So that was why, just kind of I thought he played well and he responded.
You're talking about at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
When there was a play in the red zone where I think it was the first time we've seen you use the wildcat formation.
Yeah. Yeah, I've used it before. I mean, we work it, and those are risk in every plays. I mean, those things are, the snap was a little low. Hodge, it gives you another element. Obviously, those things can look pretty bad if they don't work. But underrated Hodge. He was able to at least get the ball and get us back on, which set up. I told him he helped set up the call because the situation we wanted was the next situation where we called the shovel for Bijan. Yeah, just a different element, trying something different. And obviously didn't work, but we won't stop trying, just like the double pass with Drake. The guy shot up the field and showing squeezing, and they make a play. But when you got good players that have instincts, they can get you out of some things. And I thought it was a hell of a move by Drake and a good pass. But you could see that basketball background. Like it looked like a point guard, came under there and threw it up to new. But, yeah, we're not afraid to try. We got to be cleaner. But yeah, I got a lot of faith. I think Kadero Hodge is playing good football for us right now.
Arthur, you sort of got the
double whammy, silence the fans, and 300 from Desmond. You got 7 targets to Kyle. Now I know we've talked all before about, what happens from game to game, but why were the result? Was there anything specifically about those results that brought themselves out that was different in this particular game than we've seen in other weeks?
Well, I just think, it's just, like I said, sometimes the answer is boring. It's just continuing to work. We got a lot of young skill guys, and Kyle's coming back from an injury, and those guys, the chemistry they're building, and, they were playing a lot of zone coverage, and there's a feel to it, and you could tell they're on the same page. And they sold out to stop the run, and again, the next step is being able to, it's not going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But we were able to kind of wear them down, I thought, a little bit in the run game, which helped our protection. We kept Des clean, and guys were able to make plays. And that's what you want when you want a complete offense. It's pretty balanced yesterday. Sometimes the run numbers will be better, but if we got to throw it, we can throw it. And that was a good step in the right direction, more than anything. And, sometimes the targets, there was other plays we targeted Drake or whatever, and, the coverage, or maybe, the read took him somewhere else. But it was good to pay off. The ball got spread around yesterday. And naturally, it was good to see Kyle, Drake, Jonnu, they got going. I thought Keith Smith made a heck of a catch on a play action backed up. I thought that was one of the best throws Des made, that and the Matt Collins where he put it. And then Prue made a big catch late. So a lot of guys were involved. Mac, Hodge, Scotty Miller. That's what you want. You want to take another step. So we know we got a lot of work to do, and the key this week will be, a different challenge against a Washington team, and hopefully we can take another step.
When you're talking about spreading it around like that, I think there was 11 different pass catchers, including Tyler on the 2-point conversion. Is that symptomatic of the level that Desmond was at yesterday, or is it more of you're trying to create that in order to open up some?
Both. I think that's what you want to do. We don't want to be obvious. So there's risk reward. Sometimes, you try to set something up, you get to a wildcat. It doesn't look very good, but, it's not going to stop us from trying. We got to be cleaner, and there's things we can certainly continue to work on. But that was, the next step clearly is eliminating the turnovers and scoring more points. That's always going to be our objective. But I think what you saw was a pretty efficient day. Certainly helps the defense. Like you talk about playing team football when you can hold the ball for 10 more minutes. That helps. So, again, the biggest thing now is to learn from it and continue to get better.
One of the efficiency, 447 yards feels like it should net more than 21 points. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you change? How do you fix that going?
Yeah, one is not fumble. That'd be the obvious, right? And then the costly penalty. Drew is a very efficient player, and he's not a guy that's got a reputation for being a hothead or whatever. And he did. He hit the guy in the back. And, you're right on the thing. From either going for it or, worse, kicking the field goal. So, some operation things that we had, we made them use a timeout. Then we had a false start, and then we're not on the same page. And put us in another situation, either be in field goal range or go for it. Those are two things right there that we got down there. We need to break through that fringe area, and some of it was self-inflicted. But that you're right. That is the next step.
You guys were very good on third down yesterday. Anything stand out about why?
Well, we weren't in third and a mile a bunch, and that it certainly helps. I thought the pocket was clean. I thought, too, not only operating, throwing the football, he was really good with the protections. That's always a chess match. When you're more efficient, you're not getting low on the shot clock. It allows you to communicate better. But I thought he anticipated a lot of throws, and he was dialed in.
The catch that Bijan had.
Yeah. Yeah, it was absurd. I felt good about the play. I just he continues to do stuff, like I said yesterday, and I mean it. Like, the great players make the hard things look really easy. How he can catch it, but he does it all the time in practice. So it shouldn't surprise, when you see it, again, Bassey showed me the whatever that camera is on top. Maybe it's a little showmanship, but I don't mind it. If you can do it, hell. But he's hard to tackle in space, clearly.
Those overhead views of him are becoming popular.
I could see that.
Are there but I guess his.
Yeah, I don't.
His hand is too.
I don't have a drill for that, Mike.
Yeah. I was looking for a drill.
So I'm just saying,
you've often said that nothing he does, you knew what you were getting as a player, but Is that maybe the one thing that's kind of
He knew he could catch a football. Did I know he was going to do no-look catches? No. But he continues to – I mean, there's a lot we liked about him. And, look, he's playing with a lot of confidence. And I thought it's a good mix. I mean, the key is, he's a huge part of our offense and on third down. And getting Tyler involved is you're not going to put 300 carries on somebody. And CP's coming along, played a little bit more yesterday. That'll continue to help us.
Arthur, I'd love if you could just get your thoughts on kind of the relationship strictly between just you as a play caller and the quarterback. And does it take some time, especially when you're working with a guy who's still relatively new like Dez?
It does.
Find a rhythm?
Yeah, I think so. I think, since I've been here, it depends. Everybody does this job differently. When you're head coach and you're a play caller, sometimes it's not, your days are split up different than they were as a coordinator. And so we have a good staff, but that relationship is very important. And that's part of it too. And every quarterback, they need different things. And so, that's one thing I always look at myself and what can you do better? It's one thing when you got a veteran like Matt, even Marcus. Marcus was a veteran, different in the way they saw things. But, yeah, that relationship is vital. And that's an ongoing process. But that's why I felt so confident in Dez, some of the conversation he and I had early in the week. And then watching him come to work on Wednesday, I felt confident that he would play well. And he played really well.
Yeah, Coach, in short yardage, philosophically, what's the decision-making process when you we've seen a lot of teams go shotgun on 3rd and 1. And yesterday, I went I formation power 3rd and 1. Is it an analytics thing that you're all looking at the sheets that?
Well, you look at numbers. No,
you
look at numbers, Led, and a lot of it is about your matchups too.
Okay.
Or what you think we've done well. Like, the plays, the 2 ones that we hit to Tyler, those were set up off that pitch we had to Bijan.
Mm-hmm.
We just put a different wrinkle in. So that's what the setup was for those. But again, it's how they play, what they're trying to defend. What you think your strengths are, and so that changes week to week. Again, you don't want to be obvious. I think there's one team that sneaks the ball really well. A lot of people are trying that. Looks a little bit different without Kelsey and Hurts. People forget how strong Jalen Hurts is. Like I said, there's some guys that are probably aren't as strong as him. Looks a little bit different. Looks a little bit different when you throw an alley-oop to LeBron James and when you throw one to me. So you got to remember sometimes it's player-driven and matchups and what you're trying to do. So we just try to change up week to week, and that's what we did yesterday.
I don't want to get too hung up on the numbers themselves because sometimes they don't always tell the whole story. But, again, it's only 5 sacks through 5 games, yet the defense is playing at a really high level. When does it become a point where that number itself matters, or is it just within the context of a given game?
Yeah, I think if you're affecting the passer, it doesn't matter. The problem is where it sticks out is if you're not getting any pressure on him. So, again, sacks are great. Obviously, you want it because of, it's negative plays, ball doesn't even go in the air. But I think right now we're doing a really good job affecting the quarterback, and there's some give and take. I mean, I think like yesterday we dropped a little bit more in coverage, showed some different looks that we hadn't showed. And so there's give and take. So sometimes we only had a 3-man rush, and we still made the ball come out pretty quick. I think if you get hung up on that one number, you could go chasing things and you can screw up your rush plans and what you're really trying to do, and depending on the quarterback you're trying to attack. We just got to continue to affect the quarterback, and clearly we're doing that. I think naturally, more will happen. Continuing to get people in obvious pass situations, but I think we're doing a pretty good job on 3rd down, and there's a give and take in what you're trying to do. And if you're not affecting them at all, it stands out even more. Yeah.
As far as Desmond sacks, you mentioned his protections. He handled the protections better. Felt like he got the ball out a little quicker. His first 0-sack game, is that just a combination of all of that? Did the offensive line play better?
I think it's everybody did, Josh. I think when you're able to sustain drives and try to wear a front down, like I said, we don't want to become one-dimensional. We tried different things in the run game. We stayed with it. They did a nice job. They sold out the stop and run. I thought Bergeron continues to improve. I think, it's just, again, what they're trying to take away. You know, they didn't try to give and take. They didn't try to light us up with a lot of pressures. I think the one thing that always hurts you on the road, Josh, sometimes if you're late getting out of the huddle, then you know they're low, and those guys are looking at the play clock, and they time up some of those pressures. I mean, that happened to us in London. On a 3rd and 9, we couldn't get the check out, and they timed up the pressure because we were low in the shot clock. We had to move somebody. Like, those are things that happen. Those are the games in the game, and also you take a really negative play. So that's where you can continue to get in and out and be decisive so you can play those games. And those are the, again, if you want to get in the weeds and you're really watching the matchups in there, that's, and you're watching protections and things like that, those are the games within the games, and he handled them really well yesterday.
Is that something that maybe defensive linemen or linebackers even study?
They
is
study
when
that.
teams
Oh, yeah.
go, like,
Cadences and those things. I mean, yeah, you're talking about what a half second can do for you in this game. Hell, yeah, like those guys. I mean, that absolutely. There's like a sickness with those D-line coaches, so they study cadences. Like them as special teams coaches, it's a rare breed.
Well, I guess what I was just getting at is, like, I mean, because you have some of the defensive side of the ball early in your career, like,
Mhm.
that's something that the good ones will, like, notice, oh, this team goes with 4 seconds left. This team goes
Yeah,
like
absolutely,
that.
absolutely. Like that's what when you talk about numbers and things like that. Like those are that's why I think honestly the popularity in football, and you hope it continues, is it depends how you look at things. But if you love math and you love strategy, whatever. I mean, there's so much that goes on in every play. Yeah.
To go back to the defense, just how gratifying is it for a football coach to see a guy like D. Alford play the way he's playing this year? It seems like he's just kind of leveled up
He is.
with everything he's been asked to do.
Yeah, you know, he's one of our players of the game defensively, and you know, that's, again, credit. Like I said, I said yesterday about Storm Norton coming in there and playing really well, and D's another guy, right? You know, he continued to churn the roster, and yeah, it's a really cool story, and he's really flourishing, and you know, we went from where we felt we lacked depth to where we have, like, we got some good football players that, like, we're really high on Clark Phillips, Mike Hughes, and so we feel good about the depth there. That's a good problem to have. We feel like we got secondary depth. So, yeah, he's embraced it. He's taken off. He's playing well. And it's like Nate Landman, same thing.
Yeah, Coach, Washington, looked like they played the Eagles tough, you know, won the first 2. You know, what type of team y'all expecting to come in here, and could you speak to their defensive front?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Payne and Chase.
Yeah, great front. Invested a lot in it. Led, right, 4 first-rounders. They've already, you know, doubled down on the interior 2 guys, and Payne and Allen. Very talented football team. So, you know, when you come off a loss like that, we know they had more time to prepare. They've had to sit with it. We'll get their best shot here Sunday. Thank you.